Oh, hey, welcome back to my car shop. On today's tech tip video, we're going to talk about ways to remove spot welds. Let's watch the intro. I'll see you in 30 seconds.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
Well, as you know, there's a lot of rust and repair going on in the shop, but sometimes you just want to stand next to something gorgeous, and since my wife isn't here, I thought this would make a good backdrop for this shot. You'll notice I'm not as slimy and greasy and grimy and dirty as I normally am. Just got home from working at my day job today and decided to take a day off of flopping around on the floor and rolling like a pig in the mud and just do this tech tip video on removing spot welds. So there's a couple of different techniques that we're going to get into in the video today, but I thought we'd start out by looking at the method that I used 2 episodes ago in removing spot welds for the front part of that frame rail, separating that frame rail from the floor pan. So let's go over to the car and I'll show you that, and then we'll get into the other 2 or 3 ways that I remove spot welds, and we'll share the thinking behind each one, how I use it, why I use it, and why I do use more than one technique. Okay, so as I mentioned, I just took a 3/8" drill bit and just drilled right through this and through the old frame rail because I knew that the new frame rail was going to have a clean flange that I could just put up against these holes and spot weld like I did here and make that attach. So no point in trying to pop the old panel off. In that case, I didn't care about the old panel. I was wanting to attach to this and using this as my access hole for the spot weld or the plug weld, which is one and the same, made a lot of sense. So if I was going to save this frame rail, I wouldn't want to damage that by removing spot welds. So I would use a spot weld removal tool, and I'll demonstrate that for you here in just a minute, to, let's say, for example, I think there's a spot weld right here. So let's say that I wanted to replace this piece, which obviously do. I want to put a floor here, but not damage the frame rail underneath. Then I would drill an 1/8" hole through here and then use the spot weld removal tool. There you go. To remove this. So let's go over to the toolbox and I'll show you that tool. So as mentioned, the spot weld removal tool, which I think I bought it on Amazon. It was really cheap. I have a better one that my son had purchased when he was doing the charger, but a pin broke off. And so rather than buying a new pin, I just went out and bought this whole kit for like $15. And goes in your drill. And it's got a little pin that goes through that 1/8" hole that I was talking about. And then it's got a little hole saw right here that will cut into those spot welds and break them loose from the panel underneath. So you would go through, and I'll demonstrate it, but you'll go through the top layer and not damage the panel underneath except for that small hole. And these are double-sided little saw blades, little hole saws basically, so you can get multiple uses out of them. So let's show you how this works. All right, so in order to do this and do it justice, the first thing we need to do is have our 1/8" drill bit and our snap punch. So I'm going to go here where we got a good piece of thick metal behind just for this demonstration. Okay, so we snap that to get ourselves a spot to center punch so that we can take the 1/8" drill and drill all the way through everything. Okay, there we go. So that hole is for the purpose of this pin to line up in here so that those little saw teeth can cut that spot weld apart, if there was one there. There doesn't happen to be one there, but again, we're only doing this for demonstration purposes. Okay, so then we take and put our little pin down in there, through the hole, like that. like that, okay? And so now we have a little coin of metal here that came loose. There we go. And you can see that we have the layer underneath with this gone. So if I'm going to remove this piece, then I haven't damaged the piece underneath, so that I can put my new material in, drill my holes through, and spot weld to that piece that's underneath. So once again, the beautiful thing is we've got that top layer of sheet metal gone, and the layer underneath is still intact so that we can weld to it. Turned out really nice, and again, it's just a sample, but it gives you an idea of how the spot weld driller works. So you need to plan ahead on what you're trying to save, what you're going to replace, what you want to weld to, what direction you want to come from. That's why I don't use just one technique, but I use 3 or 4 different ones. Another way that I've done this, and I know you've seen me do it in other episodes, is to use the air chisel, to where I went through with the cutoff wheel and cut things off, and then went and just blew the spot welds off of the material underneath. Didn't really damage the material underneath, but peeled that off. So there's multiple ways to do this, and really what you want to do is find the way that's the most expeditious for you. Sometimes all you can do is just take the time and go through and just drill every one of those spot welds out. Other times I've actually taken the plasma cutter and done it that way. As I did on the rear frame rail part there, I just took a 3/8 inch drill and blew through both pieces because I knew I wanted the hole on the top and I was going to be replacing the material underneath. Again here, I'm going to replace the material on the top, but wanted to keep that material underneath, so drilled it with the spot weld drill thingy, bob, whatever it is. So you just got to think through what makes the most sense. If you're using a panel off of another car, think about where you're drilling your spot welds out, what it looks like. So the panel, do you want your weld holes to be in the panel you're removing? You just got to think that stuff through and plan ahead a little bit on how you're going to put that together and which piece is going to have the spot weld hole and which piece is going to be welded to. So I think that kind of covers spot weld removal, different ways you can do it. I hope that's beneficial and helpful to you. We'll put together other tech tips as they come along. Thanks once again to Duddy from Duddy's Adventures. Check him out. He gave us a great shout out on his last episode. We appreciate that, Duddy. And, you know, just post questions, things you want to know, things you'd like me to cover in a tech tip. How do I do this? How do I do that? I hope this tech tip was helpful. There's going to be another episode coming on the Challenger. The frame rail is installed. It's all done. We just got to finish it up. Then all we have to do is chop off the front end of that frame rail, make provision for where I'm going to put the subframe connectors in, and then probably go move to the other side soon and make the frame rail pieces on that side that need to be made. And the thing I can't wait to do is start making the floor pans, because I'm going to make those by hand as well. Crazy? Yeah, of course, that's crazy, right? You can buy it all. Like I said, this is what I enjoy doing. So why would I want to do something? I mean, I've done that. I've replaced frames and replaced frame rails. If it was a front frame rail, I wouldn't be doing this. I would just go out and find either a replacement, used one, or buy a new one for it. But rear frame rails, they're pretty easy to make. So there you go. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Drop ideas and comments down here below if you have questions, if there's something I missed in this video. We're on Instagram and Facebook, /mycarshop. And one more thing, rock on, guys.